African buffaloes are very difficult prey. These ungulates possess not only tremendous physical strength, but also bravery, which allows them to give an impressive rebuff to predators. However, lions simply cannot miss the opportunity to hunt these buffaloes. Such herbivores, weighing up to a ton, are large enough to feed an entire pride. But with luck, even a lone male can overwhelm a small and young buffalo. And 2 or 3 females are able to do it with even faster. At least that's probably what these hunters thought when they caught up with the bull. They were wrong. They shouldn't have underestimated this bull. He gave them such an impressive rebuff that the lionesses will never forget it. In the fight with them, the bull used his entire arsenal. He beat and stabbed the lionesses with his horns, threw them up, struck terrible blows with his hooves, trying to trample them. Usually, lionesses are ready to fiercely rebuff such strong opponents, but what no one has clearly prepared them for is that the bulls, it turns out, like to help out their own. The lionesses got carried away and did not notice how they were approached from the rear. As a result, the bull not only knocked the predatory cat off the back of a friend, but sent the enemy into a dizzying fight, and the ungulates did not stop there. They continued to fight, wanting to deal with the enemies who dared to attack them. The lionesses miraculously managed to escape. Being pack animals, lions strangely underestimated how effectively buffaloes are able to cooperate and to act together against a common enemy. These lions felt safe in their territory. There were too many predators to be threatened by hyenas, and they were certainly not afraid of carnivorous loners. The herbivores that grazed nearby were looked upon by the lions simply as a meal that had yet to be caught. And the cats just missed the moment when the buffaloes were distracted from the grass in order to break into their fanged enemies. The lions allowed themselves to be surrounded. They didn't know who they were contacting. The buffaloes couldn't be scared off, distracted, or repelled by brute force. Every time one of the predators tried to attack the ungulate, it did not run away, but on the contrary took the fight. His relatives on both sides strongly supported the bull, and the lions have to retreat. But the ungulates did not stop there either. They started crowding the lions just to throw them off the shore into the water. The predators were lucky that they were not surrounded from all sides. With great difficulty, they managed to escape, but these lions failed. They also underestimated the enemy and regretted it greatly. The massacre of them by the bulls looks very brutal. Mighty ungulates literally thrown by big cats like balls. Lions fly between the horns, receiving terrible blows. And if the bull cannot lift the enemy on its curved horns, it simply begins to trample. This is how herbivores got rid of a potential threat. If other lions have seen this, then they should learn from their mistakes and never let a group of buffaloes get close ever again. Well, learn not to remain without cover if the ungulates are caught off guard. Only this saved the lions, who climbed up the tree at the last moment. Cats have not gotten involved with the wrong herbivores, which can simply be ignored. Angry bulls circled and ran under the paws of the lions. Interestingly enough, the branches turned out to be exactly at the height needed to save the cats. If the plants were at least a little lower, the bulls would be able to knock the predators off this perch. And adult predators can't climb tall trees, at least not fast enough to avoid being hit. But still, the shelter does not allow the lions to relax. They constantly walk under the branches to find a more secure place. Perhaps the cats can feel the wood cracking under their paws. Can you imagine how they feel when they underestimate the threat of falling right under the hooves of fierce and ruthless enemies? It seems that just a little bit more and the branches will break under the considerable weight of the predators, and then they will fall right into a trap from which they will never get out. That's all the bulls are waiting for. It's strange that they don't jump up and try to take down the lions with their horns. Fortunately, this did not happen, and the lions managed to sit out the danger in the trees. This antelope is in a different weight category than light, fleet-footed cheetahs. One-on-one, this predator would not be able to defeat such a powerful herbivore. But the species of wild animals are constantly evolving. Previously, cheetahs were considered lone hunters, but over the past 15 to 20 years, researchers have noticed that cheetahs have increasingly begun to unite into small family packs and groups of hunters. This makes it easier for them to fend off enemies, as well as hunt larger game. Here we see exactly this. A whole hunting group of cheetahs attacked a large antelope. She cannot hide from several hunters, and together the cheetahs will be able to overwhelm the ungulate, even despite its threefold advantage in mass. Except the cheetahs don't know who they're messing with. They think that the antelope will try to escape, after which they can just bite into its throat and fill it up. But no, the predators are dealing with a real fighter here. Not only did the ungulate give the cheetahs a steep rebuff with its long horns, it also retained enough composure to use the landscape as a tactical advantage. The antelope retreated closer to the dense bushes in such a way as to shield its back from against the rear. The cheetahs try to get around and surround the victim, but they can't. In the area where the antelope is on the defensive, the cats have to approach one at a time. And with one cheetah, such a brave and strong herbivore can cope without any problems. For cheetahs, hunting turns into a dangerous adventure. A well-aimed blow with horns can cause serious injury. Hunters are trying to intimidate the antelope and make it panic. At the same time, cheetahs are looking for ways to get through the barrier, get around it, or somehow surround the victim. But all to no avail. The antelope defends itself too effectively, and the cheetahs have to retreat to look for easier prey. Formally, the cougar belongs to small cats, but only because of the specific structure of the skull and vocal cords. The puma is often larger than leopards, and its strength and aggression even allows the puma to fight with the jaguar, the third largest cat on the planet. The cougar is cool, and there are few animals in the world that are able to fight back one-on-one. That's why there are about a dozen dogs attacking the cougar here. The mountain lion underestimated the danger. A cougar could easily defeat 3 or 4 representatives of this breed alone, but there are too many of them here. The cougar retreats. She realized late what a huge numerical advantage the enemy had. Hunting dogs drove the cougar to the very top of the cliff. A predatory cat fights off enemies, but cannot hide. If she shows her back, they'll catch up with her and attack her all together. If she tries to cope with her opponents, they will all attack her together. As a result, the cougar still grabs one of its enemies, and both of them fall epically off the edge of the cliff. Well, we must give the mountain lion its due. He did not give up and fought to the very end. He was even able to take one of his enemies with him. Of all the big cats, the leopard climbs trees better than the rest. The combination of great strength and agility allows him not only to hide from opponents in the crowns of tall trees, but also to drag prey there in order to look down on competitors without the risk of losing his lunch. Here the leopard wanted to pull off the same trick, but underestimated the hyena. Like dogs, their speed and agility to work in a team are amazing. They swooped on the leopard like a flock of hornets, from different directions with great speed, stunning the spotted predator. The leopard didn't have time enough to drag the prey up a tree. The dogs managed to intercept it at the very last moment. But just look at how many of them there are. Already being safe, the leopard looks back and realizes that, in fact, it is not a loss, but luck. Such a number of wild dogs could easily deal with him. The cat lost its prey, but it was lucky to survive on its own. Although a leopard is much stronger than one wild dog, a dozen opponents could have dealt with our hero in a minute. Crocodiles can drag wild antelopes or zebras underwater. Admit it, we all fall victim to the stereotype that domestic animals are weaker than their wild counterparts, right? And if a crocodile can easily handle a large wild hoofed animal capable of migrating across several countries, then surely this reptile can manage a domestic cow that peacefully resides in a pen and is not accustomed to the hardships of the wild. Well, just get ready for a surprise. Just like this crocodile, whose hunting beginning went perfectly, it grabbed an adult, well-fed cow in a way that left her no chance to escape. The grip on the hind leg's base deprived the victim of maneuverability, yet the reptile's jaws couldn't slip. All that was left was to drag the prey into the depths, drown it, or simply finish it off. But the cow was clearly against such a turn of events. It just lifted the entire body of the crocodile above the water. The reptile couldn't drag the cow or even slow her down. Helpless, the crocodile hung under the hoofed animal's hind leg, shocked that the cow simply walked out of the water with it. For some time, the cow calmly stood there, contemplating how to climb up the slope with such an unpleasant burden. And when the crocodile realized that the chances of overcoming such prey were as slim as a flea's, it just gave up and crawled back into the water. Certainly, domestic bulls and cows should not be underestimated. European bulls are descendants of wild aurochs, the extinct European bison that, even in medieval times, symbolized untamed strength. After domestication, their descendants have lost about 30% in size over hundreds and thousands of years living alongside humans. But that doesn't mean the domestic bulls became weak. Feeding a giant aurochs was impractical, yet they passed their strength on to their descendants. This bull doesn't attempt to attack anyone. It's not aggressive and doesn't make any sudden movements. It simply found itself next to a truck and the animal decided to test its strength. While the vehicle owner clearly didn't expect the bull to effortlessly lift a car weighing over 2 tons with a single horn. In many regions worldwide, domestic bulls graze freely. Of course, farmers wouldn't allow domestic livestock into the territory of wild animals without confidence that the herd would return home intact. Watch how a domestic bull resists a wild buffalo. It's unclear what the animals disagreed upon. Perhaps the buffalo wanted to drive away the herd of cows, or vice versa. Take leadership within it. In any case, the domestic bull shouldn't have been underestimated. Each of its horn strikes pushed the more massive buffalo back, compelling it to retreat. And though they are often watched by shepherd dogs, many breeds of domestic cows don't really need their protection at all. Take the Texas Longhorn, for example. This formidable giant looks pretty impressive, doesn't it? Would you dare to approach it? The males of this breed boast one of the largest and most expansive sets of horns among all animals on the animal planet. The horn span reaches 7 feet, over 2 meters, and that's just an average result. Some horns can be even longer. The duel between 2 longhorns looks intimidating, especially when the gigantic horns of these males clash in a ramming attack. If you think domestic cows only have these horns as decoration, then you are mistaken. The thing is, herds of such cows freely roam through the territory of wild herbivores regularly. Here's a video of a longhorn encountering a modestly horned and aggressively inclined bison. Perhaps the bison simply underestimated its distant relative, but challenging its anger was a clear mistake. The longhorn put up an impressive resistance against its opponent. The entire head of the bison fit between the longhorn's horns. Although the wild beast has more experience in butting heads with other herbivores, the domestic cousin really holds its ground. The 2 massive hoofed animals engage in a struggle like true athletes. Interestingly enough, they don't attempt to inflict injuries with the sharp tips of their horns, yet they don't surrender or retreat. And this isn't the only such case. Here's another showdown. Longhorns graze freely, knowing that if a cheeky bison tries to drive them away, the male with powerful horns will surely step in to defend its herd and resist this wild beast. Fortunately, both hoofed animals remained unharmed after this duel. The reddish golden bison and the bold longhorn both animals are beautiful, and we hope that they came out of this unscathed, don't you agree? There is a rare old black and white recording of a longhorn facing off against a wild lion. What can we say? 100 years ago, people didn't think much about environmental protection and animal welfare. We do not endorse the creators of this video, but thanks to this video, we can see that even against one of the strongest predators on the planet, a domestic bull can stand its ground and even emerge victorious. The initiative initially seems to be on the lion's side. The confined space doesn't allow the bull to attempt fleeing, yet the longhorn here doesn't appear to be fazed at all. It immediately puts up an impressive resistance, shakes off the lion, delivers a few strikes with its hooves, and then transitions to active counterattacks. The lion is in shock, looking around as if silently begging to take this unreasonable horned beast away from him. The predator simply doesn't know how to approach. The horns are too wide, preventing attacks on the bull's throat. And powerful kicks with hooves discourage pouncing from behind. Now, the lion regrets being enclosed in such a confined space with such a monstrous creature. After this impressive display of strength, you might think the longhorns are brutes just waiting to be released from tight pens onto the prairie to find victims to attack. Strangely enough, that's not really the case. Towards humans, these giants with enormous horns are very loyal. They are calm and even gentle. An ordinary domestic European bull can sometimes demonstrate with stubbornness that a construction crane is needed for transportation. The longhorns, on the contrary, are docile and kind towards humans. While they can stand up to a lion or a bison, this is a last resort. For the longhorn, a human is a friend. This unusual behavior has led to an increasing trend in their use as riding animals in their native Texas, replacing horses. This is pretty surprising, isn't it? Yet it's a constructive decision. Not only are these bulls docile and obedient with proper training and preparation, but they can also protect their rider. Giant horns in flight would deter not only bears, but entire packs of wolves from a cowboy atop such a colossal bull. Would you like to ride such an animal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, especially if you've had experience with these remarkable creatures. It's intriguing to consider if they could actually be trained to protect humans, similar to guard dogs or herding dogs. That would be pretty amazing. While European domestic cows and bulls resemble the Euro-Asian aurochs, on the Indian subcontinent, domestic cows had a different ancestor, and that is the Indian aurochs, originating from the same family. That's why the Indian Zebu differs externally from the European cow. Some distinct features of the Zebu include a small but pronounced hump, a more straight silhouette of the back, a skin folds hanging beneath the throat. However, since both cow ancestors were relatives, Indian Zebus and European cows crossbred successfully. This has led to the emergence of numerous hybrid breeds. Why are they needed? Well, for agriculture. European cows are better suited, as they've developed many dairy and meat breeds over centuries. But Zebus tolerate heat better and can go without water and food for an extended period, and most importantly, they possess natural resistance to diseases carried by blood-sucking insects like mosquitoes. That's why Zebus have spread worldwide, especially in tropical regions. For instance, hundreds of thousands of these cows now inhabit Africa, and no fewer can be found in South America, although many hybrids of Zebus and European breeds exist here. Cattle breeds can vary significantly. Here's a duel between bulls of two breeds, Watusi and Brahman. Both animals are robust and relentless, but they differ significantly in appearance. The Watusi's horns are gigantic, while the Brahman has larger dimensions, mass, and power. So whose side are you on? Zebus indeed have enviable health and, as it turns out, tremendous strength. Here you can see a Zebu fiercely resisting a buffalo. The distant relative, approximately twice the size and even more massive than the Zebu, is overpowered, but the Indian bull digs its hooves into the ground, lowers its head, and resists. It's a case where even in a head-on collision, the advantage in sheer physical strength doesn't guarantee any victory whatsoever. Even when the buffalo prevails over the Zebu, the Indian bull stays put and withstands the enemy's blows. Then it counterattacks, forcing the heavier buffalo to lift off the ground and retreat. The Zebu literally tosses aside its opponent. These dogs seemingly decided to recall their predatory wild ancestor and attacked the Zebu, and this was a big mistake. If the dogs don't behave peacefully like domestic pets, the hoofed animal won't hesitate to retaliate. A few strikes with powerful hooves, and the dog is sent flying in one direction or the other. Each of the bull's blows hit the mark precisely. The dogs didn't expect such resistance from the usually calm giant, and paid the price for underestimating the bull. Which instance of an unexpected demonstration of immense bull strength surprised you today the most? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see new fascinating episodes about wildlife.